So you're a recruitment company.
Yeah, so we've got Marcus Arm Group, which I think you and I spoke a while back now, because we had a couple of guys in that we were looking at getting some sales training done for.
Tristan, timer.
I just couldn't afford you at the time.
Oh, right. Well, that's good to know. I like that.
Yeah.
Well, no, we watched, we looked at it and we're like, yeah, this clear value here, but when we were constrained by budget more than anything, and we watched your YouTube videos and stuff, and we ended up Sean ended up putting together a kind of BD script that we started using kind of mid-pandemic, with our new guys and stuff, 30 seconds, all that sort of stuff. And the guys were just blown away by it. They're like, oh my God, this is so successful. And at that time, we were like, we've got to get this guy in at some point. We've got to. But then we lost one of them who was really good. He went to a big business he went to work for Robert Half in Birmingham. And then we lost Leon. And they were the two that were using the script more than anything. And we were like...
They are the most success out of it as well,
yeah.
I think that's how
this is why when I work with companies, I only work with them if the salespeople pay towards the training. Yeah. Because the training belongs to them. The company can never own it. It's all there, and that's why. That's why it's good for me, because the people that pay for it are committed.
You sure?
Yeah.
Right. Is it recording?
Yeah, that's recording.
Cool. Yeah, sound's on. Is the sound recording?
Yes. That's
Testing.
Is it moving along?
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah, we're good to go then.
Right, well, welcome to another episode of RecTalk. Today we have the man himself, Mr. Benjamin Dennehy.
That's good to the
world's most hated salesman, or
just the UK.
Just the UK.
He's working on the world, isn't he?
I work on the world. All a good time.
Yeah, going to tackle sort of New Zealand, Australia anytime soon, or have you already tackled that?
I've worked with companies in New Zealand. It's just the time difference is a bugger. It's a good 12 hours. I did one boot camp, which was 2 a.m. my time to 6 a.m., which was New Zealand's like 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. for a company. And it's like, they paid a premium, obviously, because I've got to get up at 2 a.m. at work.
Not a premium.
I'm a naturally very loud guy. So me doing this at 2 a.m. is not good for neighbours or... I had to really
kids in bed as well.
I had to really rein in. Because it's a true story. I was so loud giving a training session. Our neighbour's can be a bit challenging at times, and he would come over and knock on the door. And he was knocking on the door, and my wife just refused to, because he knew he was going to be moaning about something, so she ignored him. And then after I finished my presentation, this is about 9 p.m. at night, she said, our neighbour was knocking on the door. I said, who cares? And then there's a knock. And I thought... he's back. So I thought, I'll deal with it. I opened the door, there's 2 cops there. He called the police saying that we were having a domestic incident. And
what the hell were you teaching?
It was just me being me, right? And
the thing about sales is beat the shit out of him. I think the neighbour's knocking his wife out again.
So it was fascinating though. 2 cops at the door saying, neighbour said there was a domestic. I said, no, we're not. I said, I've been giving a presentation. I'm excitable.
You know what you need to do, mate? You need to get some of these like soundproofing panels.
Exactly. Yeah. So the next time I did an overnight one, I actually ended up hiring an office in one of those
like a Regis
office. And I got access at 2 a.m. and then I could yell all I liked, and there was nobody there.
So that was the one and only time then?
A couple of times, but it's too much of a headache to do the early hours.
There's only one of you. There's only so far you can go.
Exactly.
Spread yourself out. So
yeah.
So obviously you've really got some sort of fame around the 30 seconds, this is a sales school thing, that kind of, I think for us that definitely made us take note of who you were and kind of what, and I think that happened.
I get a lot of those phone calls as well. I get a lot of those phone calls. I'm calling from and it's usually recruitment software people, and they're like, have you got 30 seconds? I'm like, did you do the Benjamin Dennehy sales training? And they're like, and they'll go, can I have your 30 seconds or not? And I'm just like,
the amount of people that deny it though, it's just like run with it. Like if
I know it's fascinating, right? And one of the things I teach is the easiest way is disarming honesty. If someone, I would have said, absolutely, I love his stuff.
I'm glad you know.
Or do you hate his stuff? If he goes, go fine, let's pretend I didn't do the training, and I'll start the old way. No, exactly. And this is it though. Under pressure, people perform differently. So I never believe anything salespeople tell me.
No.
They always say, I'm good on the phone, I'm good on... No, let me watch you. No. And they're nothing like they claim to be. And it's pressure.
It's humans though, isn't it? Like we always choose the path of least resistance.
Absolutely.
And if our gut instinct is just to shut down or start umming and ahhing and going down a rabbit hole, that's what they're going to do.
Yeah.
No matter what training you've given them. turn the pressure up, and
But you know,
9 out of 10 of them
why-
tend to go, oh, I'll go back to what I know.
That's why army training is so effective, though. Army training, generally speaking, is just repetition.
Because it's drilling. And the problem is most people don't drill what I learn. They come on. Like I say, I'm up front. About 75% of people that actually do my boot camps don't end up doing 90% of what's in it. It's too uncomfortable. They take the bits they like, which means they take the easiest, most comfortable bits, which is pointless because you should be doing the bits you don't like because that's where the growth will come. And they just, I think most salespeople are in sales out of default, not choice.
Yeah.
They fell into it.
Yeah.
We didn't choose the sales life. The sales life chose us.
Yeah, exactly. And so because most people deep down don't want to be there, very few want to deep down get really good. Mm-hmm. You meet a surgeon or a lawyer. Say, how'd you become a surgeon? How'd you become a lawyer? They don't say, I fell into it.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to do for it. I decided, let's try neurosurgery.
An agency and they just sent me in one day.
Yeah. No, they spent 5 years, 7 years studying,
Training,
learning, and then they start as a junior and they...
And even then, they become a specialist in a particular area of medicine or a particular area of law.
They're committed to it, whereas most people fell into sales, they get stuck, and they realise after 3 years, I've got nothing else to offer the world.
So how did you fall into it then?
Just like everyone, I needed a job. See, I qualified as a barrister. That's the irony, right? So I was, I'm a qualified barrister. So I was
in New Zealand.
In New Zealand,
right? Okay.
And before I wanted to have a proper career, I decided to do some travel. And I ran into a friend of mine who was practicing law at the time. He was a lawyer, gone through law school together. And I said, I've sold everything I own. I said, I'm going to hitchhike around New Zealand for 6 months. And then he just said to me, why don't you go to England? And I said,
weather. For one, cost of living.
Well, I get a passport.
Fuck all to see.
I get a passport, so I can get it. So I can get a passport. And the thing, of course, we all studied English law, right? So it was like the natural, So I said, why the hell not? And 6 weeks later, I arrived. Right. I act very quickly. Turned up, no plan, nothing. Let's see what the hell. What's the worst that can happen?
That's future Benjamin's problem.
They call that ADHD now.
So it probably is. I probably have something wrong with me. I wouldn't surprise me. So obviously, at some point, I had to get a job. So I was working in pubs and doing bar work.
Young, free, and not committed, as we see on your LinkedIn profile.
That's it. And then I decided to go home to start law. And then when I got home, I realised I couldn't live in New Zealand after having been over here. It's just so boring and dead.
Is it?
Yeah. I mean, it's so boring. It didn't even get COVID. Remember that?
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Yeah. I wonder how that
and then eventually they got it. But they managed. That's how boring they were. Everyone else having a big COVID party. New Zealand just isolated themselves. Nah, we're not playing.
Go away. No one in, no one out. Yeah.
So that's how boring it is. So I came back, and that's when I thought, well, I've got to get a job. What do you do? A law degree is useless unless you practice law.
Yeah.
It's useless.
Yep.
So I'm articulate. I can string a sentence together. I was thinner and I look good in a suit. You're now qualified to become a salesman.
That's it.
And I started in recruitment. That was my first sales job. And I sucked at it.
Do you remember when I was saying the barrier to entry in recruitment is low?
Yeah.
Like, this one,
yeah.
You're thin. You look good in a suit.
You can string a sentence and you didn't dribble in the interview. You're qualified.
Yeah.
And that was
Hit
it.
the phone, place people. Yeah.
And that's how I got into sales. And that was in 2004, is it?
Yeah, 2004.
Yeah, 2004.
Yeah.
Yes.
You did 6 months before you bottled it, though.
No.
Well, I don't know. Ben, your LinkedIn profile doesn't match up here, mate, because you've got in March 2004 to August 2005.
You were also working. Oh,
NB Limited.
Oh yeah, you're right. That doesn't match up.
We are talking nearly 20 years ago.
Yeah, that would be that would be August 2004.
Did you get the dates wrong? Were you supposed to put March 2005?
I don't even use. I don't know if anyone who looks at this.
Apparently, Tristan.
Right. Somebody's looked at it. Well, I have to create. Yeah, well, it doesn't matter. It's 20 years. What do I care? A few months out. But I ended up getting poached by NB because I was given a week's notice because I was shit at recruiting. I didn't recruit anyone, and I was basically told you got a week.
Just what you should have.
Fair enough.
Go.
Yeah,
and this was on a Friday. So I went to the pub and sitting there having a drink. Thought, what the hell do I do? So I went back the next week and all I did was hit the phones really hard. And I got all these appointments. And I got a stay of execution. The director said, you got another week. He goes, I want you to do more of what you did this week. So I did it again, got loads of meetings. He goes, okay. He goes, I'm gonna change your job. You're not a recruitment consultant. You're just going to be purely lead generator. You set up the meetings for other people to go on. And that's how I fell into prospecting.
Right, okay, yeah.
I had a real knack at getting appointments. And I was getting in front of companies that other people had tried to get in front of but couldn't get in front of.
Yeah.
And they were, wow. He goes, I'll pay you for every new lead and I'll pay you per meeting. And then this other company had hired an ex-recruiter that had worked with me who got fired. You go in with 30 people, and by the end of 12 weeks, there's 3 left. Right? So he was one of the 25 that got turfed, and he said to his boss, he goes, "Oh, I know a guy. He can get appointments." And so they phoned me up. I had an interview, and they offered me a job. And in my first month working with them, I set up 14 meetings with advertising agencies. I didn't know anything about.
So what was it, do you think, then, that allowed you to get the appointments? What made you so good at prospecting?
So
some sort of natural talent to it?
There were certain things to it. I didn't know this until years later, the psychology, but I just started doing things. It's not until you know why it works. So I was bumbling through, but what I realised is the more I struggled, the more people helped me. So I used to put on a fake stutter. You can't hang up on a guy with a stutter. That's rude, right?
Forrest Gump them.
Yeah. So I used to do that. I'd always act slightly confused, like I didn't know what I was doing. You see, people want to naturally help and rescue people. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
They rescue people that are struggling. My first meeting was with the marketing director of the Times newspaper. And I remember when she answered her phone, I said, "Look, you're going to hate me. This is actually a sales call." And she was like, "Oh." She goes, "I'm sitting here with my assistant, and she said, don't answer the phone, it'll be a sales call." I said, "Well, now you've answered, what do you want to do?" She goes, "Oh, go on, then I'll hear you out." I got a meeting with her. And it's like they were just... So what I did is I discovered struggling helped. Putting on a bit of a fake stutter. I used to call it the stun grenade approach as well. I was very good at bang. Wow, you got to meet with us. We're so brilliant. We're so awesome. You're going to love it. And my clients would come back from the meetings and say, they really liked you. Yeah. So that's how I got into it. And I did that from 2006 through to about 2016, just prospecting for advertising agencies every day, 5 days a week, pretty much.
That sounds soul destroying.
It was and it wasn't. The pay was good. So I'm my own boss. So I've been my own boss. I've been 100% commission since 2006. Right. So this is why I have no sympathy for salespeople that get paid a salary and then bitch about how tough life is.
Mm-hmm. So you've done the proper side.
I've done it without any commission. I've been 100% commission. So I have no sympathy. So it motivated me to get good at what I had to do. But you're right. I was sitting at my desk. It would have been 2015, prospecting one day, and I thought to myself, I'm going to be doing this when I'm 50. And as I figure out, either I go back to New Zealand and become a lawyer, which I didn't want to do, or I got to figure out a way to get out of this prospecting lark.
That's hilarious. Do you remember what I was telling you when the meeting I went on with Ryan? We had a new manager come in at Michael Page, Ryan O'Toole, great guy, absolutely sound.
Funny guy.
Yeah, cov lad, like real got on with him loads. And we sat in the Volvo head office in Warwick, and then we see these 2 old boys coming out, briefcase, suited up, blah blah blah, and they're saying bye to the receptionist. And he looks over at me, he's like, "Mate, I don't want to be like them. I don't want to be 50 doing this, like sitting there trying to sell things to people that don't give a shit." And I was like, "I'm going to set up my own business and have other people doing it for me." And that was like what 4 or 5 years before we even set up, we even thought about it, because I was just like, "You're right. I don't want to be that guy, that 50, 60-year-old salesperson that's like already out of date, you know." And we'll be doing things that we're doing now that we think is like with it, and compared to like these young ones coming in and looking at us going, "Look at these two, look how old they are." And that, it's amazing when you have that moment of clarity of like,
that's it. You just have.
Am I doing this the rest of my life?
Yeah.
And then the pension age is moving.
It's like, I can't be doing this at 50. I've failed somehow. That's not.
I had a law degree.
I know. If
I had made a series of bad decisions to end up in this situation. Yeah,
exactly. So I had to get out. That's what began my journey on figuring. So I started saying to my clients, "Can I come on the meetings that I set up for you?"
Yeah.
Because I was good at getting them in front of people, but they didn't often sell a lot.
Right.
And they were happy with the meetings on. Advertisers, people and creatives, "Oh, we don't care, Benjamin. We got in front of them. Yeah. They liked us. We started the relationship." So you got all of that nonsense, right?
Because they pay the bills, don't they?
Yeah, but they're not buying anything.
Yeah.
So I'd go on the meetings and I'd watch and I'd just observe, and I realised everybody did the same thing. They would show up, throw up, and hope.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was all very cool. It'd be like this, and then they'd have the little laptop and they'd have a creds presentation and they'd talk them through, "This is the values, this is why we set up, these are clients, these are some case studies." The prospects asking questions, "Well, could you do this, could you do that, how long have you, blah, blah," if you were and then it would end 2 ways. Either they'd say, "All right, we got something you can take a look at, we've got a brief, we'll send you something."
Yeah.
Or it'd be, "Well, look, great, it's been really good, you're certainly on our radar, should anything pop up, we'll be in touch." And they were happy with either. Like, yes. And then they'd go away and they'd work on these briefs for free.
Yeah.
They'd go in and if it was, and I'd be getting them in front of like Coke and Pepsi and Unilever, so they really wanted this.
Yeah.
And then they'd give away all their ideas. And they stand off. It's just, this is
that
all
verbal
wrong.
diarrhea that salespeople have, though. It's like, let me just talk at you, and the more I talk at you, the more you're going to hear it, and you're going to love me, and all that sort of stuff. And actually, you've just said a whole lot of nothing.
Or don't close. They'll circle around it, but they won't go in for the close, right?
And the biggest problem is most salespeople have what I call intellectual conversations only. And you can talk for an hour to someone intellectually, and it'll go nowhere.
Yeah.
Because people don't buy intellectually, they buy emotionally. So if you can't get the conversation to a deep level, it's, I don't know why I'm here. Why am I here? Convince me why I'm here.
Yeah.
Why do you need my services?
Yeah.
And they say, well, I want my guys to be better. Well, that's an intellectual answer. That's not good enough. Every salesperson could be better.
What are we talking about?
Why?
Yeah. Where's
What
why
do we-
because? Why
You've
because?
got to dig deep, and it takes a skill and a while to get there. And most salespeople give up because they get uncomfortable. They don't like asking these types of questions. They don't like that. All they want to do is keep it intellectual where they're safe. And so they kiss a lot of frogs. A lot.
Yeah, and there's always that kind of stigma of like sales is a volume game. Sales is a big volume game, and you've got to just the more you put at the top of the funnel, the more you get out of the bottom of the funnel. But actually,
You put shit at the top, you get shitty water out
yeah,
the bottom.
Yeah, you're like, oh, this is weird.
shitty water, like
Shitty
toilet water. Yeah.
So it's the only thing in
But it's
sales.
what?
The only thing in sales is a numbers game is prospecting.
Yeah.
Because you can't guarantee someone will pick up the phone. If everybody picked up the phone, prospecting also would be very, very easy. It'd be complete skill.
Yeah.
But once you get in front of people, it's then skill. It's not numbers. Because often I meet people and I say, we need to get in front of more people. I go, how many meetings a month have you got? They go, we get at least 15. Well, how many are buying? 4? You don't need more meetings.
Yeah.
No.
Whatever you're doing in
you're
those
missing
meetings.
11.
Yeah,
you're missing
where are the
11
11
opportunities.
going?
What happened
So,
in those? Yeah.
should you not have been in front of them? That means your prospecting is really crap. Or is it those 11 could have bought from you, but they decided to go elsewhere for some other reason? You need to figure this out. So that's my job. So yeah, often they bring you the wrong problem.
We made a really good point there about the people not answering the calls and that kind of thing. I was in on your, I was viewing your live prospecting session with Sunil and Liam.
God rest his soul.
Yeah.
For Trainio, which
Yes.
it was fascinating to see. We know Liam. Liam worked for us.
Yes.
We trained Liam. He's a good salesperson.
He is a good
Sunil is a great salesperson, or
Sunil,
was, sorry,
yeah.
a great
Was
a great
a
salesperson.
great salesperson.
And obviously your reputation speaks for itself. But even you guys, it was good to see that actually, just because you've been doing this forever and it doesn't always work. People don't always answer. They're not always available. And I think it was only you that got through to somebody and had a conversation and managed to book something at the end.
Yes.
But that wasn't to say that the other two didn't do very well.
No.
It was just like circumstantially and that kind of thing. And one of the things we tell the guys upstairs is exactly that you're not going to, if you ring, if you're trying to get hold of a candidate, now you ring that candidate every single weekday at 11 o'clock because that suits you. You ain't going to get hold of him. You didn't get hold of him on Monday. You ain't going to get hold of him next Monday, and so on and so forth. Mix it up, try different times. But it's so easy to be like, oh yeah, I made 50 phone calls, but really only 10 people answered. No, you dialed out 50 times. You didn't make 50 phone calls.
This is what annoys me, right? So you make 50,000 calls. It's like, no, do you mean dials or conversations?
Yeah.
Because conversations are what matter. And it doesn't matter how many dials you make. So I don't care about dials. I care about how many decision makers did you talk to today. My target was 5 a day. I wanted to talk to 5 managing directors a day because I knew that if I did that 5 times a week, that's 25. I should get 3 to 4 qualified appointments with a decision maker that could buy my stuff.
Yeah.
And what I point out is most salespeople see themselves as alchemists. They try to turn everything to gold. Prospecting comes from gold mining. How much rocks and dirt do you have to wash to find gold? That's what prospecting is. And you've got a database of 1,000 companies. And just right now today, there's probably 10 that need what you have now.
Yeah.
Problem is I don't know where they are.
Which 10?
So I got to wash those rocks. But salespeople are phoning up trying to get everyone to turn to gold. And they spend so much energy and effort trying to convert no's, it could never be converted into a yes. And they get frustrated,
Just
they get
accept it, move on.
defeated.
Yeah.
But
The
the other thing as well, though, is there's a lot of blame culture around, but my circumstances weren't right, my database was shit, my this was shit, that was... You've got to look at yourself. You've got to look at the self-reflection piece of, you did it. You were booking X amount of appointments and you were booking all... And you're like, no, well, I don't want to do this.
I'm getting you in front of good people and you're still
then
selling
applying
shit.
still,
Something's
right?
wrong. Yeah.
Something's wrong.
So there's got to be a self-evaluation piece. Okay, well, what am I doing then? Am I booking shit appointments? Well, probably not, because you're getting in front of the people that you want to get in front of. So where's the issue? And again, this is what we say to the guys upstairs. It's like, what could you have done to affect the outcome of that particular situation, whether it was a positive or a negative? And everybody is so focused on this is what went wrong, and I know this is why it went wrong. But nobody self-evaluates the good stuff. Nobody ever looks at, this is why I made that placement, or this is why I made that sale. Why did I
let me
make
break
that
that down. Where were the things that I did that I influenced that?
Yeah.
So I do it again next time. I figured this out at Michael Page, right? So I got a rollicking because I was using my work mobile rather than my landline, and they can monitor my landline calls and numbers, but they can't do my mobile, and that was their issue. And I said to it, look, you keep getting told from everybody, candidates aren't answering, clients aren't answering the phones, and blah 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 blah. Our landlines dial out with a withheld number. People don't answer private numbers. My mobile number, people will answer. Even if it's curiosity alone, who the fuck is this ringing me at work or whatever, they'll answer it. And when they answer it, then I get a chance to pitch to them. Exactly. Think about how many of your guys aren't doing that. And they were sort of, I remember the area director sort of looked at me like, I can't really argue with that, can I? Can you just try and make sure you use your landline a bit more? That was the end of the conversation. I'm like,
well, there's so much non-productive behaviour that's encouraged and promoted by crap managers. I trained a guy who worked for a SaaS company, and he managed to smash his target without doing a single demo. Yet he got told off.
But you're behind on your demos.
And was told, you haven't done the demo. He goes, but I'm selling without the demos. The demo is a pointless, useless step. You got to do demos. You miss it on demos. So he actually said, sod the job. He quit. He found a company that would let him sell. This is it. And there's this obsession, if you're in SaaS or software, do a pre-call. It's not even a prospecting call. It's, can we have a call to have another chat with you? And then it's, can we have a chat with you to do a demo? And then it's like, why are you doing
that's
all these
that 7 points of contact bullshit, though, isn't it? That's why.
Some marketing guy, and I... Hat off to him. Came up with a system. Sell them this bullshit way of doing things, and they'll buy into it. And they have, because it takes the pressure off them. Yeah. Most deals, not all. I'm going to be careful because enterprise is slightly different. But most people are selling a product. You could do a one-call close. Most things we sell are not that complicated that require hours of meetings and committees.
I mean, look, you could recruitment, right? So you're selling effectively people in the crudest way. You're selling people into a job, right? The amount of times I've done that without the candidate even going to an interview or anything like that, was just like, right, you need an accounts assistant or an assistant accountant or whatever, I can get one to start for you tomorrow. Yeah, Sam, let's do that. End of call. Yeah. Candidate's in, the client's happy, and that's it. No demo was done. The guy hasn't even seen the CV, right? Because what they're buying is off the fact that we know what we're talking about. But that behaviour is totally encouraged. Like I said, car sales, same sort of thing.
Yes.
You can't sell a car unless you've done a test drive.
Do you think market dictates the way we should be selling? As in, do you think that sales today is different to the way it was 10 years ago and will be different 10 years from now?
No, I don't think selling is. I think the crap people do around selling's changed.
Okay. Do you think what you were doing in 2006 with the prospecting stuff, that still applies today?
Yeah, it hasn't changed.
Yeah,
I've been doing and saying the same thing for 2 decades almost. And I get people say, but if everybody does what you say, then it has no effect. It's like, how many millions of people are there to sell to in the world?
Yeah. But also, everybody won't do it.
And everybody won't do it. And everybody's also heard, hi, it's Benjamin from ABC Company. How are you today?
Yeah.
It's an excuse not to do something that's uncomfortable. So what I feel with modern younger people, I guess, and older people supporting it, is all this social media, social selling, touch points, all of this. That is an excuse. It's procrastination. It's avoidance. Pick up the phone.
Tidying up the CRM is another one.
Yeah. I mean, I go into a company, and it may happen this week, and I'll say, let's do some calls together. Because when I work with a client, I make calls. Okay, I want to hear you guys first. Do you know how long it takes someone to pick up that first phone? They get to their computer, then they got to log in, then they go into the system, and then they go, no, can't call him. No, can't call him. And I could be waiting 10 minutes. Could be 8 people in a room. So someone
just pick up
phone anyone. It doesn't matter.
I don't give a shit who it is. Just phone.
But it goes all. But it's all deep-rooted behaviour, because it goes back to your belief when you're raised as a kid. Never talk to strangers. It's rude to interrupt, and that's there. And so when they're going to pick up the phone, their mum is in their head saying, oh, you're going to interrupt a busy stranger. You better find a way not to do it. And then as the phone's dialing, they're thinking, please don't answer.
That's fascinating.
Please don't answer. It's programming. So we are the product of our programming. So the Romans had a saying, give me the boy until he's 7 and I'll show you the man. They knew the first 7 years of the programming would dictate, and we know that now is true.
Yeah.
So the first 7 years of your life, you're told it's rude to interrupt, never talk to strangers, always say please and thank you, defer to authority.
Yeah.
And then no one says, oh, by the way, that doesn't apply as a grown-up. No one tells you that.
It's fascinating. You're right, because I've said this a few times recently, which is it's odd because you have a young child who you want to see explore the world. Come on, hurry up and stand up, say your first few words, run around, and then you send them into school and you go, no. All that stuff you were doing before, stop doing that.
Yeah.
Sit down, shut up, speak when you're spoken to, otherwise keep
Raise
it
your hand
quiet.
to speak.
Raise your hand, and you listen to the person stood at the front telling you what's what. And then when they go their whole lives living like that until somebody goes, why don't you think for yourself?
Then you go to university and they teach you critical thinking.
Never Why can't you think for yourself? You think, fucking hell, like, when am I supposed to think for myself? My whole life I've been told, don't.
My daughter, she's 5 now, right? But when she was like 2 or 3 years old, just about started to talk and all that sort of stuff. She used to close me all the time, and it was brilliant. And I said it to the guys upstairs. I was like, "You should do this," and she was like, in her like really broken, putting on the stutter English, was like something along the lines of, "I want a chocolate biscuit." But he's like, "Dad, a chocolate biscuit." I was like, "What? You want a chocolate biscuit? Okay." It's like, brilliant.
Yeah.
That's exactly how to do it.
It's like I got a 9-year-old daughter and I've been teaching her this since she was born. And so I got to teach her because don't talk to strangers. It's a good rule for children. It's a stupid rule for grown-ups. So with every rule I give her, whenever I remind her, I say, until you're an adult.
Yeah.
So the script won't play when she's grown up. And so I say, it's, like I said, well, you got to say please and thank you when someone gives you something. Because as a kid, it's just not. I said, when you're a grown-up, you don't have to say thank you or please. You don't have to, because if someone gives you something you didn't ask for, you shouldn't have to immediately say, thank you. Why? I didn't ask you to go, why am I thanking you for giving me something I didn't even ask for?
You should thank me for taking it.
So you don't have to do that. You don't have to talk. You can talk to strangers, and I want you to talk to strangers, but when you're an adult, and you are allowed to interrupt people, and you're allowed to talk about money. So I say to her, you can ask me any question you want about money. You can ask me, how much will it cost?
Yeah.
I can either answer or not answer. I said, that's my right, but you have the right to ask me. I don't want you ever not to be scared about talking about money. Do you know how many salespeople are scared to talk about money?
Yeah. We've had it. We were like,
it's like being a surgeon who hates blood.
How much does that candidate earn? What's that candidate on at the minute? I know they're looking for 50k. Okay, but what's she on now? After 50k, right? Have you asked the question? No, I haven't. Why not? It's rude, isn't it?
And that's your mum. That is what your mum would say. So this is how powerful the programming is. Your mum said it's rude to talk about money.
I've looked at it that way before.
So that is the programming, and you got to. These tapes, they're called tapes. It's called scripted behaviour. And the problem with these tapes is you can't delete them. They're there permanently. You can pause them. Mm-hmm. So I've paused mine. But the moment I stop doing everything I do, the original taping comes back. It's like with your weight. Your body's programming is store fat, store energy. So a professional athlete can stop that by imposing a new program. Constant dieting, you're doing it. But the moment they stop that, programming kicks back in again.
Well, we're the same. Like boxers and stuff like that, they put on loads of weight as soon as they finish playing sports.
Because the programming does what it's meant to do. So we're the same. So my job as a professional is to stop the programming while I'm selling. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So and how did you get to that point then?
Practice, repetition, and learning new behaviour. So belief always follows behaviour. Okay. So when you first start doing what I do, you have a conflict because you got your beliefs telling you can't do this behaviour because it won't work. But then you do the behaviour and it works, and then the belief starts to say, okay, maybe it does work.
Seeing it in action. And
it's like going to the gym. Everyone wants to go to the gym, and then they get there. And after a while of doing the behaviour and getting used to it, I quite like this, it becomes part of my pattern, then you start believing going to the gym. Yeah. But those who quit after a week say, I don't like this, it sucks, it's not going to work, it's not getting any...
We're not going to see any results.
Yeah, don't see any results. So they quit. And we're the same in sales. So everything I do was just practice over and over again. I knew it would work. I just had to get good at it.
But the psychology element, though. So what kind of drew you into that then? At what point did you sit there and think, people are doing this wrong? There's more to it than just kissing a bunch of frogs and seeing what's happening.
So on my journey, I've met a lot of interesting people. I met a lot of salespeople. I've met a lot of sales trainers. And there was one particular sales trainer called Marcus who introduced me to some concepts around psychology. And it's very common. It's called transactional analysis. And this is a model for understanding human communication. And once I read up and studied this, I realized the power in this. And I won't bore people with the detail. You can go read it. Just Google transactional analysis.
Stuff, isn't it? Yeah.
You'll
go on the Google Images.
Yeah. You'll see it. Yeah, there it is. And it's all of this. And what it means is, I think most people in sales are coming from their inner child. Mm-hmm. And when I get in front of a CEO, I say, if you were to close your eyes and listen to your salespeople, would you hear children or grown-ups? Just close your... And then they go, most say children. Why? Yeah, because it's sorry to bother you. May I just? Is it okay?
Yeah.
Please, may I? Beggy, needy. Now, who's going to want to meet with a loser? So you got all these losers phoning up grown-ups who run businesses, and they sound like losers. And that's why they get short, sharp shrift. So if I want to get invited in, I have to sound like the guy I'm calling.
Yeah.
I'm not a ball-breaking CEO. That's not me.
No.
But I can be it to get past the gatekeeper, and I can be it when I get through to the guy. And so my job was to be their equal, never get stuck in this child-parent dynamic.
Yeah.
And once you get out of that dynamic and you're equal, we're going to come to a no, or we're going to come to a next step. I'll take either.
It's funny, we had a very similar kind of, like, without knowing that that's what it was, we had a very similar moment at Michael Page where we would actively go after, because we were sort of temp and perm oppos, so we'd go on meetings together and that kind of thing. And we would actively target businesses that were either pissed off with our employer and were never going to work with you guys again, or had a really bad recent experience.
Yeah.
And we'd go in, and immediately the dynamic would be, well, you're the agency, we're the client that you want to work with, so we're going to talk down to you.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until we started kind of being like, look, what's happened there is happened there. You want us to work these jobs because here's what we're going to do for you.
Yeah.
Forget Michael Page; it could be called Michael Sharma Group for all you care.
Yeah.
You know, this is you're dealing with me and Sean here, and we're not going to sit there and allow you to, oh well, yeah, and then they did this and then they did that, because we challenge them back and go, all right, well, how long did it take you to give feedback on the CVs?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So after you interviewed that candidate, how long did you sit on it before you decided that they were the right person? And we challenged them back, and as soon as you were kind of like, no.
So
This isn't please sir, give us a vacancy.
Yeah.
This is do you want our help? Because if you don't, there's a ton of people that do.
Yeah.
That dynamic changed completely, and these guys were dealing with us in the same, the kind of respect that like any young aspiring salesperson would want.
Got to have parity. And so whenever I'm prospecting, or if I get in front of someone, I'm not there to convince them to use me. I know my stuff works.
Yeah.
That's not why I'm not here to do a dog and pony show. This isn't me convince you. You need to convince me why I should help you, because I got a warehouse full of stuff that works. I get to choose who gets it, though.
Yeah.
Just because, and this is it, a prospect doesn't have to have any money to get a salesperson to vomit on them.
No.
I know you may have no money, so you have no power over me. If someone says, well, if you want my business, I don't know if I want it yet. I'm not convinced you need me. My job is to put the prospect in their place and say, look, you're the one with the problem, not me.
So how does that translate, though, if you're the one making the phone call? So you're the prospect making the phone call to that business.
But I'm still looking for people that have problems I can fix. It doesn't matter. So if I had the cure for COVID and I was trying to find people with COVID, I'd be asking, do you have these symptoms? They said, yes. Why don't I come and see you? And then I diagnose. It turns out you do have COVID. This is the cure. But you got to buy it on my terms. But you called me. But I'm not the one with COVID. So who cares how I got here? This is it, right? And it's getting salespeople to think and behave like that.
No, that's yeah.
I don't need you. You need me. Well, if you go buy the cure elsewhere, then go buy it elsewhere. That doesn't bother me. There's enough people who.
We've got to this point.
Your money has no power over me if I don't want it, and that goes down to the rule of attachment. Most salespeople are attached to outcomes. Got to get a deal. Got to get a sale. I don't care about the outcome. I care about what I'm doing to get to the point where they have to make a decision. I control everything up to that point, just like a lawyer controls everything up to the jury goes out to make a decision. Once they're in there doing it, I can't do it. So I got to do everything up to this point. If I do this well and competently, there's a good chance I'll get the outcome I'm looking for.
Yeah.
If I don't get it, so what? I have no dog in this fight. Some you win, some you lose. I have no emotion. I'm not here to prove I have worth as a human.
I don't want my lawyer with that attitude.
Yeah.
You're either going to get off or not.
Well, every time in any legal dispute, someone will win and someone will lose. And it's in the South. Someone will win and someone will lose. Unless you qualify them out, they're tire kickers and they were never going to buy anyway.
No.
So you don't have to win everything. My goal isn't to win everything. It's to win the right things.
What's the right thing look like for you then?
What does it look like for me? For me, it's as long as the check clears. I'm a salesman, right? Yeah.
But that's an outcome, though.
But for me, it's very... So I have a simple rule. I only want to work with companies if they get me in. I prefer working with individuals because individuals pay out of their own pocket and they're motivated to change. And they have autonomy and power to change. So when I go in and do corporate stuff, I have a condition. You need to get the guys to pay. If they're not willing to pay towards the training, then don't get me in. Because then I've got a room full of hostages. The only reason they're there is because their boss told them you need to be there.
Yeah.
They'll always take a free day out of the office, free lunch, a day off the phones. You'll be amazed the number of MDs. Every MD loves the concept. And I say, so before we even do the next step, you need to go away and ask them, are you willing to pay towards training out of your own pocket? You'll be amazed how many phoned me up and said, they all said no. I said, I know, because now you're screwed. You don't have a sales problem, you've got a recruitment issue. How are you going to keep this team on? They've just said to you, no, I don't want to change. But you know they need to be better. And for some, it's hard. I've had some guys say, I'm really gutted. I say, I know, I'm sorry. There's no point getting me. You are pissing your money up against the wall. Yeah? But most companies I work with, they're all paying out of their own pocket.
So you say most companies, so what about the ones that don't then?
Well, no, I don't work with them.
Yeah, so most companies you work with, their salespeople pay.
They'll get them to pay in some way. It could be future commission. You've got to be invested.
It doesn't necessarily mean that they're
not physically.
Their Visa, and
you have to put something in it, and it could come out of future deals, whatever. But you need to invest.
With a bit of skin in the game, basically.
You have to invest in yourself because you look at anyone at university who's paying for it. The student, they're borrowing the money. So sales seems to be the only profession where everyone expects to be trained for free.
Yeah,
but that's because the barrier to entry is so low. The barrier to entry is so low, though. Anything to do with sales.
So exactly. So you got an entire industry filled with people that don't want to be there, and people that don't want to be there don't want to spend money getting good at something they don't want to deep down be doing.
Look at if you look at the transition from people who end up in sales to go into a recruitment, that end up in internal recruitment, that end up in HR. They use the sales thing as just a funnel to get themselves out of recruitment and out of sales as soon as they can.
Well, I've always wondered why anyone would be a sales manager if they're a good salesman. Yeah. Why would you want to become a manager? It's because it gets you off the phone doing the grunt work. So you were never really that. Bingo. You did enough to get out. Yeah. And so, no. I mean, in fact, all salesmen should be 100% commission and self-employed. That's what I am. Because
that's bold.
Yeah. Because, put it this way. Let's go back to hunter-gatherer societies. A salesman is a hunter. If you don't kill, you don't eat. But if you got back to the village and they gave you a burger, regardless of what you did, you become fat, lazy, and useless. You wouldn't learn how to throw the spear better. You wouldn't learn how to walk. You wouldn't learn the behaviour to be better.
You wouldn't need to.
The apex predators are carnivores, aren't they? They're not vegetarians. They're not herbivores.
And so most salespeople are order takers.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. I was speaking with a company recently and said COVID was great for them because of the way the market worked. Their services were just in demand. And everybody was making money, but it's died now. The post-COVID world. Suddenly, they're not selling.
Yeah.
And it's not my fault. It's the market's changed. No. You were benefiting from an order-taking market. Yeah. You did nothing, and now you got to sell, and you realise you can't sell. And now you're blaming it's Brexit, it's the economy, it's COVID. No.
Yeah. Take some accountability. Right?
Take some accountability, but they don't want it because deep down they don't want to be here.
And
that's where it fundamentally lies. Deep down, most people in sales don't want to be there.
So here's one for you then.
Yeah.
Can anybody get into sales, and can anybody be good at sales?
I think anybody can. I don't think there's not much to it. In fact, I'm up front. There's not a lot to what I teach. Selling is the art of communicating. And it's understanding certain principles. People buy emotionally and then justify intellectually. So if you don't have a sales process designed to get someone emotional, for them to be able to say, I really want this, I need it, and this is why. And then you need a process that says, okay, well, I know you need it and want it, but that doesn't mean you're going to buy it. Because intellectually, there could be barriers to this. You don't have the money, you don't have the time, you don't have the resources. So first, I need to find out, do you emotionally want to do it? If you can't convince me, then it's not going in there. Once I know you want it, well, hold up, let's have a chat with mum and dad now. Can they afford it? Can they invest the time? Can they invest the other resources? If none of those work, doesn't matter how emotionally they want it, if they can't intellectually do it, they won't do it. And vice versa. If they intellectually want something, but emotionally don't care, they won't do it.
If you emotionally want a Lamborghini, but your budget just doesn't allow you to buy one, then you're not getting one.
You can always spot someone on a car yard that's got money because they're the one that's not excited. You see, people with no money are excited because you know you don't have to spend anything. But if you're sitting saying, I want to buy a Ferrari, and before you got the money, you're in, oh, fuck, this is awesome. I love it. I can't wait to get the money. Can I take a Tesla? The moment you got the money, you're now,
you're umming and
I don't know.
Oh,
I got 200K. Do I really want a Ferrari? And you're not like a contestant on The Price is Right.
No.
And so this is it. So this is what I teach them. When you get, they love coming back from a meeting. It's like they were so happy and keen and positive. That's a bad sign. Anyone that's happy and keen and positive about what you have,
they ain't spending their money.
Ain't spending any money. You want to get in front of someone who says, to be honest, I don't know why you're here. I'm not really sure if we need what you have. Right.
Excellent.
Now I get a chance to sell. Yeah. So everything I teach is 100% counterintuitive. I do the exact opposite of what everyone else says you should do, and that's why it works. Because when you behave completely differently, you get treated differently. Salespeople all get treated the same way because they all act the same way.
It was all pattern recognition, isn't it? That's it. A prospect will always go, you're a salesperson because you're doing all the things that remind me of what a salesperson does. All of a sudden you're doing something different.
It's Sean from Michael Sharma Group, and I've got this candidate that I wanted to talk to you about.
Yeah,
and,
jump straight into the sound.
Yeah,
jump
and
into,
then this is it. I mean, at the end of the day, right?
Hi Benjamin, it's Nitin from Michael Sharma Group. How are you today?
Oh, yeah.
Who the fuck are you
I
asking
always
me?
say, whenever someone says, "How is you today?" I always say, "My mum died last night," and then you get this awkward pause,
Yeah.
and then you get this.
I'm sorry.
Well, anyway, the reason I hear it, and it's like, so you're not even listening. I mean, this laughs, and it's like it makes me laugh.
Because they're flicking through their folder, like, it doesn't say what to do with it.
It's like, yeah, and it does make me laugh, and it's like, come on. Yeah, but salespeople make their life so hard. But it's not their fault because no one. Everyone says you got the gift of the gab and you look good, you'll be fine, and that is true. Anything in volume, will work.
Yeah, I think look, some people naturally are quite sort of quick on their feet in terms of they can talk their way out of a corner. But that will only get them so far, won't they? That's do you know those guys you were talking about who become the sales managers who are like, you did just enough to talk yourself out of it.
We've had this, haven't we? And like we've had it a number of times, but like Jack Stacey comes to mind as a perfect example. We met him, Jack Stacey, great lad. We met him, charming lad. We liked him. So we were like, do you know what?
He
totally fucked it up. So we were like, yeah, fine, brilliant. Like, send us through the contract stuff, we'll sign it up. And then nothing. And then nothing. And then nothing.
Weeks went by.
And we were like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, we were happy to sign up. Jack, what the fuck? And he was like, mate, so sorry. I went out that night, got smashed. Completely forgot about it.
Signed up a new deal. Got really excited, went out, got 11, and then I just completely forgot to send you the terms.
It's classic. Salesmen always spend their commission before they've got it. Every salesman is a millionaire in their head. I did one deal, I got made $1,000. I do 10 of those a month. I have 10 grand. Oh, I'm a millionaire.
Yeah. We used to work with this guy. No shit, right? He used to have this Excel spreadsheet of like his running temps, he used to just sit there looking at it all day, just looking at these temps that he had. It's like, mate, are you going to
plugging in fictitious names and be like, well, if I get another 5 people out, and if I could just squeeze the margins up to £7 an hour, then look, I could be on this. I'm like, yeah. You've been doing that for half an hour. You could have been on the phone.
Pick up the phone, yeah.
You could have been on the phone.
Honestly, that frustration for me of like just pick up the fucking phone. So I've done commission only. I've done very low level, like low salary. So when I was in car sales, it was like 10k basic salary, and that was literally just because you're then contracted to work for this employer. Yeah. Everything else is commission, and you do that, and at that point you have that fear and anxiety of I've got to pick up the phone, otherwise I'm not paying my fucking bills. And that sort of, but it's true though, isn't it?
It is. As people say, what motivated you? I said starvation.
Yeah.
That was the motivator. I had to make this work.
Clothes on my back.
It was starvation.
A roof on my head.
Starvation or get a job.
Yeah.
And I did not want a job. I cannot tell you how much the idea of working for someone scared me. And it's like, I've got to make this work so I can get paid not to have an employer.
We've been doing that for the last 6 years. I'm running our business like, if we don't fix ourselves up right now, we're going to end up working for somebody else, and that's not happening.
No, because once you do it, you can't go back.
No,
you cannot go back to being employed. Because I point out that all salespeople are self-employed anyway. They just have one client.
Yeah.
And if you lose that one client, you're broke. I have multiple clients, so it doesn't matter if one decides to leave or whatever. I still have income. I'm never not going to have money.
But that's why the frustration for people who just don't want to pick up the phone when it comes to sales. Like, you've got new tools to be able to add to your arsenal of sales, like social media, like podcasting, and all the other bits. But that's just marketing.
Yeah.
The actual selling bit comes from just picking up the fucking phone.
Got to pick up the phone.
Call people, talk to them, find out where the pressure points are.
And that's a communication skill, and no one teaches us how to communicate properly. Yeah, and
no,
that's
far from it.
Yeah,
discourage it.
Yeah, it's discouraged, and so that's why it's so bad. We're in the communications business. Lawyers are great communicators, and you pay them a lot of money for their communication skill. We're in the same job. That's why law and sales to me are so comparable, because they're all a process.
Yeah.
They're designed to get to the truth. Everyone's an actor. Everyone has a role to play, and whatever happens will happen. We don't control the outcome. We control what we do up to the outcome. So for me, it's exactly the same approach. If I don't sell, I don't care. Just like if my client, if I lost and I go to jail, it's not my problem. I'm not one going to prison. I move on.
You commit the crime.
You committed the crime. You were guilty. There was no way you were ever going to get off. We did our best. You're going down. Do I care? No. It's not my problem. I move on to the next client. And it's the same in sales. But salespeople, because it's all they have, and they phone up and talk about them and what they do and how they do it.
That's the thing.
They get rejected, and they take that personally. When I phone up, I'm not phoning up about me. I'm phoning up, this is what I fixed. Do you recognise it? No. Fine. Next one. Do you recognise these? No. Next one. Do you recognise? No. Next one. Do you recognise these? Yes. let's talk.
Yeah.
And I don't care if they say no.
Yeah.
But that's so true, though. The amount of people that just call up and just talk about themselves, and just how great they are, and how they like. Look, if I called, bang, I know you're looking for salespeople. We're Mark Sean Group. We specialise in salespeople. Blah, blah, blah. I don't give a fuck, mate. I don't care who you are.
Don't care who you are. Don't care what you do. What problem one are you proposing you fix?
Can you fix?
I always, if you're at the pub on a Friday night and you saw a girl at the bar that you were attracted to, I said, would you go up to talk to her the way you talk to people on a cold call?
Yeah. Hi,
it's Benjamin. Shut up. I'm going to talk about me for the next 2 minutes, and at the end of this, you're going to lay me, right? I said, unless you keep your mouth open, that's the only way you get a free drink, right? When they throw it at you, right? Because it wouldn't work. You would not talk to another human being the way you do on the phone. It starts with phone up, and they have this ludicrous structure on how to talk to people, and then wonder why they're rejected constantly.
Yeah.
And the same applies with the whole LinkedIn messaging and email prospecting and all that sort of stuff, because that's the exact same.
Yeah.
Which is literally just, hey, we're from this to this agency. This is what we're doing. Yeah. Here's a portfolio of what we've done in the past. Who gives a shit? Like,
so you might as well just send them your holiday photos.
Yeah.
It's pathetic. It is.
This is what I say to our guys upstairs. Whenever they get ghosted by their client, I was like, firstly, you've done something wrong because you're obviously not adding value in a certain way that they want, right? But secondly, just send them an email, be like, am I right to assume that you don't need my support with this anymore? Job done. Two things will happen. Either they'll be like, no, we're really sorry, just been tied up with this. This is what we need, or they'll say, yeah, actually, we've got it covered. Yeah. In which case, you have the decision. Yeah. Go to the
and it's
thing.
okay if you've done something wrong. It's okay as long as you've learned from it. Like nothing's. It's not. The world's not going to end.
Yeah.
Right. That client didn't buy from you. You're boo-hoo. It's not a big deal.
But you're right, though. Other people. Communication is discouraged, though, because you look at like now the whole sort of wokeism, and you can't say anything to anybody because people's right to be offended is far outweighs your right to actually have the
Our last guest, for example, we was like, oh no, we can't say that.
Yeah,
we can't say that.
Cut that
can
out,
we cut that bit out and blah blah blah.
I mean,
blah.
Nitin said something like it was something.
All
Really,
it was
like if it's a
I actually have a specific questioning line around wokeness because if something happens to me twice, I then create a new rule. First time it could be a one-off. Second time it's a pattern. Yeah. So then I need to deal with it. So I lost 2 deals because if you work with bigger companies, you'll always find something I've written on LinkedIn that will upset someone.
Of course you will. Yeah.
And so the bigger the organisation, the bigger the HR department. Means the bigger there are people with fuck all to do other than to troll social media. Look for something you've said that could conflict with some made up value that just has to be put on the website. So I start now asking companies, before we even do this, do you have an HR department that's going to find it? And the number say, yeah, we do. I go, in that case, we may not start because they will find it. The number of people that don't worry about it, Benjamin. We will. It doesn't matter. So I've got to deal with it. So if you keep having something happen to you, you figure out a way of dealing with it in the qualification process.
You have to.
And I had a guy say to me, "You're right. I don't think you get through the HR." I said, "No." I said, "So let's end it because there's no point us having this to get all the way and
shake
then
hands
it's over.
as amicable friends.
I'm fine. My job is to qualify out. Whatever's left is qualified in.
Yeah.
And there are more reasons not to work with me than there are to work with me. So if I eliminate that, whatever's left, we're closer to working together."
But that's the art of prospecting is they used to get the little trays, didn't they? And they'd like sift it through the river and stuff like that. And the whole point was to just shift out all the crap that was in there.
We're in the prospecting business. We're trying to find gold, not alchemy. We're turning everything to gold. That's why their lives are so hard.
Although, have you heard there's now man-made diamonds, isn't there? There's lab-made diamonds.
Is it? Yeah. Oh yeah, because it's only under pressure.
Yeah, so they now literally make diamonds.
Yeah,
in labs.
I did read that.
Can't make gold though, because my understanding it only happens when a star explodes.
It's the only
time gold is made when a star explodes.
Gold can't be made like man-made diamonds. Yeah, so
that's why it's so precious.
The issue that the
literally
jewelry
from an
industry,
exploding star.
That's fucking wicked. That's
in a few seconds, not probably a nanosecond of nuclear fusion, and gold is created. It's amazing.
Well, do you remember there was that asteroid that was? There was an asteroid that was going.
Yeah, there you go.
And they were like, "Oh,
we appreciate stars a lot more."
Are we going to send a spaceship out to the asteroid to like get precious metals and minerals off it? Because it apparently was like full of precious metals and minerals.
That sounds like
and
an
then
Elon
kind of
Musk
just
thing.
went. Yeah, well, weirdly it was.
Elon Musk will lasso one sooner or later. Without doubt, he's going to lasso a comet filled with gold, and then he'll destroy the gold market. It'll be so much. It'll be part of
this.
This
is what the diamond thing's going to do, isn't it? It's going to destroy the gold, the diamond market.
It's significantly cheaper though. Like a lab-made diamond is like way cheaper, and it's better produced as well. So the clarity and the cuts and all that sort of stuff is so much better.
See, I like my diamonds hand-mined by
children,
poor children.
Yeah.
The bloodier the diamond, the better.
Yeah, that's the value is in how it was created, not the actual creation itself.
And the rarity. If they can make them, then they'll lose value.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Makes it more affordable, though, doesn't it? Everybody gets to have one then.
Yeah. Cheap diamonds.
That's
So, I mean, look, the how many of those kind of HR conversations do you have where the BMD's like, no, you won't have a problem, and then all of a sudden HR come knocking? How do you deal with
Well,
that?
it hasn't happened since I started doing it.
Yeah.
That was the whole point of
Cutting
doing
it
that
out,
conversation was to cut that out.
we should probably do that.
So when it happened to me twice, I realised, this could be a problematic. So I just decided to cut it out, and it's fine. Yeah, I'm pretty good at screening out people because I don't want to work with everyone. I get lots of people contact me, but I don't want to work with everyone or every type.
Well,
I'm after people that are going to get what I do.
Like I said, there's only one of you. There's only so far.
There's only one of me.
If you're going after low hanging fruit of people of inbound inquiries and that, okay. How do I can't maximise
But then
that.
also, I suppose you're also diluting your value as well, then, aren't you? If you make yourself available to everybody, like the diamonds, if you make yourself available to everyone, then
exactly
also
no.
the value
So I want to work with organisations that are going to do what I teach. And if I do my job well, they've convinced me that they do want to change, and that's fine. And I'm willing to come because I say I got to be upfront. This is hard. It's not a 1 or 2 day dog and pony show. This is you physically changing how you behave and act.
Well, you said earlier you're committing 6 months to a business, aren't
Yeah,
you?
you're committing 6 months to trying to change how you behave. It's like signing up with a PT. You don't sign up with a PT for a week. And he says it's not working. No, you've got to work with the guy for 6 months because he's going to show you how to do it. And
even then you've got to implement everything.
Yeah, and he's going to hold you accountable. He's going to push you. Yeah, because most people don't push themselves.
No.
So how long are you doing this then? So you get to what, another 10, 20, 30 years and then
doing this?
Yeah.
No. My goal is to be not having to do much of this by the end of 2025.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay. Yeah.
No, I've set a clear goal. I'm learning to fly. So I've been thinking of what I would do post
Helicopter or plane?
Plane, Piper, and Cessna. And the reason is I spend my life talking to people. My whole life is non-stop talking. I'm either doing a podcast, I'm training, I'm one-to-oneing,
Videos,
I'm coaching. I want a job where I don't have to talk to anyone. I was thinking of becoming a truck driver, right? I think I paid like 60k a year, and I'd be on the road, and I just have a CB radio. So I want to do something different because I've done very well out of this. I've made a great life. Done really well, but I don't want to do this forever. I'll always be here doing it, but I want it to be a part of my life as opposed to the main function of my life. And my daughter's getting older, so I want to spend more time with her. Yeah, so that's the goal is to, you got to have goals. If I don't make it, it's fine. It's my own goals. I can always move things. But so I set goals of where I want to get to. Yeah.
So 2025 is
end of 2025. So
when's the last course then? Because that's going to
I don't know. It'll probably, around the end of 2025.
You want to put a deadline on that now?
Well, I've been putting a lot of stuff online now. So I've launched a new online stuff. Because the only way for me to scale is through online. Because I don't want. I get people saying, "Can I come and work with you?" It's like, no, I don't want employees.
So
and anyway, I wouldn't pay you.
Is that the sales training? Is it the coaching, the boot camps?
That's an event I'm doing with Brad Burton. That's on the 23rd of March. Actually, we're putting on a day. I don't know if you've ever met Brad Burton. You should. The UK's #1 motivational business speaker. He's a thoroughly interesting guy. Set up for networking. Made a fortune out of for networking. Grew it to the biggest networking. I met him years ago.
I hate networking events. Don't.
Yeah, they have their moments.
It's just salespeople trying to sell their shit to other salespeople who want to sell their shit. Yeah. No one's buying, everyone's selling.
They can be challenging, but yeah. So I've got that, and I've got no live boot camps for a few months because I need a break. I've just done 3 back-to-back over the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
They were all full. I think 75 people went through those.
Yeah. You're still doing the Trainio thing as well?
I still do the Trainio thing. I will be, and as we all know, Sunil passed over the weekend. Yes, a really nice man. Yeah. He was a visionary, so I believe the company will continue to go, and it's a great company, a great concept. So I'm still working with Trainio.
Good people behind it, so it'd be a shame for them to stop.
And that's my new website. It was recently launched, probably last week proper, and it's got this lead magnet, and I've had over 1,200 people sign up to my lead magnet, and they get access to videos on prospecting. So I'm always keeping busy, and like I say, I'm passing through. I'm on my way. I'm training tomorrow.
Appreciate it. We appreciate you taking the time to come up.
Yeah, that's fine.
So in the future, we'd love to have you back on. We want to kind of once a quarter, I think we're going to have sort of mega-sodes where we get a few more people in me and Sean can just sort of step away and just sort of chuck a topic
Chuck
in
some
and let
red meat
everybody
and
kind of
watch
go
them
at it. Yeah.
So, basically.
We'd love to.
If you've got someone like yourself who's quite sort of polarising in kind of
Brad,
your approach,
the guy the guy I'm doing the event with, he's really.
Well, we want people with total opposite opinions.
Yeah.
Total. So having you here, but then also having like an MD of a business.
Might get like a head of HR or something to sit.
yeah. But having somebody who's like the polar opposite of you, who just challenge everything that you want to say, and then actually just watching that interaction, just
that would be
allowing people seeing that interaction.
Wow.
Yeah, so
if you can find someone, I don't look for these people.
No, They always seem to find me. I ended up calling a head of people, he called himself, not the head of HR, a head of people, called him a panicky little bitch. He did not like that. Oh, no. Although all of his staff seemed to like it, because I had a lot of people from the business message me going, "Oh my god, that's really funny." Blah blah blah.
Well, when I first started out, I used to write a lot on LinkedIn. This was before anyone really knew who I was, and a lot of people said that I was an idiot and that the stuff I was saying wouldn't work. People saying, "If you ever phoned up and said anything like that to me, or if you did that with I," so that's when I created the LinkedIn Lovers series, where I'd start phoning up people on LinkedIn who would say this would, and it worked on all of them every time.
Yeah,
see, because when you're sitting behind your keyboard thinking about it, but
a
when it
warrior.
happens in the moment, they don't see any of it.
I was the same. I watched the because you were the one that introduced like Benjamin's videos to me, and I remember kind of being like, "I don't know, man. I don't know. That seems a bit I don't know, man." And then when you were like, "All right, well, when you put the script together and you ran through it a couple of times," and I was like, "Yeah, it does fucking work, doesn't it? Yeah, no."
I remember seeing one of yours on the LinkedIn Lovers thing where like you'd called and you're like, "I've just got a note here to say that I've got to call you," and I don't know who it was, but somebody put you through to some woman, and then she was like, "You've just wasted a whole bunch of time for my salespeople," and I was like, "Do you know what? It's not everybody would put on that level of kind of annoyance from a potential client. Like that in effect would be a failure, or a lot of people class that as a failure in that you didn't get the outcome that you wanted, but you did get the outcome because actually what you've done is filter out somebody who just isn't going to buy.
Yeah, and the outcome is to get through to the decision maker. So this is what's up. So the gatekeeper's job is to stop you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want them stopping. I want the person who I'm trying to get a hold of to say, tell them to piss off.
Yeah.
I'll take that, but I don't want the gatekeeper making the decision on their behalf. So when I say to successfully get cast, it doesn't mean the person's going to take my call. They phone through and I get it. And they go, "Benjamin, he has no idea what it's about." I go, "Well, I don't either. Can you find out why I'm calling?" And then they go back. And then they go, "He still doesn't know. I'm sorry, Benjamin." I said, "I'll take that, right? Because this guy, he's not taking any of it
back.
But if I do get through, I then do, "Look, you're going to hate me. It's a sales call." And they all go, "Oh, I knew it was a sales call." But because I got through, most I'll go on then. Yeah, some don't. Some get annoyed. I don't care.
Yeah. She did in the end.
But those annoyed ones, that's not a dynamic you're ever going to win.
No.
Right? That guy's this person that you're speaking to has clearly got some superiority complex you're wasting my time. Why are you on the phone to me? I don't want to deal with you.
And the great thing is, if someone gets angry with you prospecting, it makes me smile because it means I've actually found someone having a worse day than me.
Yeah.
Because that's why
I'm stuck on the phones.
That's why when you're prospecting, people dump on you because no matter how crap their day's going, as soon as you phone, they suddenly realize, "I've got someone having a worse day than me." So they then dump on you and they mean to you, right? And that's why, actually, if they're angry, it means they're having a shit day.
Yeah.
And it's, I'm only prospecting. This is your life.
I remember she was well busy.
that.
She was just like, "I can't believe you just wasted so much of my staff's time and my time." And then in the end, he was like, "Well, I mean, do you still want to have this sales call or not?" And she was like, "Yeah, fuck it, go on."
Brilliant.
Right, well, look, on that note,
thank you so much.
Thanks very much for your time.
You're most welcome. It's been a pleasure. Thanks for
just want to
inviting
give
me
another
on.
nod to Sunil and the team at Trainio.
Yes.
So
Yes.
yeah, our thoughts are with you guys. But yeah, look, thanks for coming on the show, Benjamin.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and next time we have our mega episode or megasode.
Megasode.
Yeah,
Megasode,
we'll get you in. But
Thank
yeah, don't
you.
be a stranger.
Yeah.
I won't be.
Yes,
Thank you, guys. Cheers.
Thank you.
Got it.
That was easy.
That was good. Yeah.
Thank you.
Right, thank you so much.
That love and leave. But yeah, was that all right? You happy with that?
Perfect.
That was absolutely great.
Like I said, we wanted it to be very kind of raw, very unscripted, just literally just chewing the fat.
Just press stop on this.
Yeah, just press stop.
Yeah, no,